My name is Gale Ekiss. I am the co-coordinator of the Arizona Geographic Alliance, and today I'm going to be doing a lesson called From the Dust Bowl to Sunny California. This lesson is designed for grade 7, and it should last 3 class periods. All right, the overview for this lesson is where people choose to live is an important factor in understanding the distribution of resources. Many factors can contribute to the decisions that humans make on where to live. So we're going to talk about push and pull factors in this lesson. And a crisis such as the Great Depression can influence people and cause them to move. The purpose is that in this lesson, students will gain a better understanding of how a lack of economic resources in one region during the Great Depression can cause a human migration. And the availability of natural resources in another area can pull people to that area because there's a chance for economic opportunity and gain. Okay, for materials. You're going to need a bunch of materials off of the Library of Congress website. You're going to need a song, you're going to need some pictures, and all of these, of course, are copyright free. You'll also have some PowerPoints that come with the lesson. One of them is called Setting the Scene, and another one is Life in California, and a third one can be used for the extension, which is Route 66. The objectives are, in this lesson, students will be able to describe push and pull factors in terms of the Dust Bowl era. They'll also be able to analyze how social, political, and economic reasons impact where people choose to live. Now, this lesson does not take the place of teaching the Great Depression. You're still going to be doing whatever the textbook would have you doing with the Great Depression, but instead, you're going to supplement what they do and have them pursue this theme of why would people choose to move during the Great Depression. All right, session 1. The anticipatory set for the first session is you're going to show a PowerPoint. And in the PowerPoint, there's 16 slides that set the scene for the students to understand what was happening in the Dust Bowl area. Now, at the first time that you show these pictures, the students are not going to interact in any way. They're just going to silently watch the pictures. So here are some of the pictures that are in the 16-slide PowerPoint. And after the students have seen through the whole PowerPoint one time, you're going to pass out a worksheet called the Photo Analysis Worksheet. Now, this is from the Library of Congress. This is one that is one of a set of 3 sheets. One is analyzing photographs, one is analyzing political cartoons, and another one is analyzing documents. So this is just one of the set of 3 that you can use from the Library of Congress. The directions are on the worksheet. First of all, the students just look at the pictures for a couple of minutes, okay? And then they are going to be answering the worksheet. But they obviously need the photos again. Now, you could show the PowerPoint again if you really wanted to, but I would recommend that you would Xerox off the pictures so that they have the pictures to sit and discuss with each other. So this is a sample of one of the pictures. And let's go back to the worksheet and see what it says they're going to do. It said study the photo for 2 minutes, and then you're going to draw it into quadrants. So you take that photo and you put it into 4 sections and have them look at the upper left corner or the upper right corner. And then they will be looking and seeing what they can find in each of those sections. Then they fill in the chart that's in the middle section. So in the middle section, they're going to be looking at what people did they see in their picture, what objects did they see, what activities are going on in their picture. Then they make inferences. The first part was observations, now it's inferences. So based on their observations, what do they see? And the last part is questions they still might have. For example, on this one, why is she so sad? Why does it look like the baby is eating dirt? Those would be good questions that kids would come up with. And how could you find answers to those questions? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. All right. Then, to end that day session, you would have them take a look at a map of the Dust Bowl area. Now, I could not use the particular map that's in the link here because it is copyrighted, but you as a teacher could go on and get that link and show the children a much better map than the one I was sketching in on an outline map from the Alliance. But you'll notice that I've sketched in where the Dust Bowl occurred, and I have a little key for where there was drought and where there was a Dust Bowl. So then they would turn their paper over after they have after they've studied the map of the Dust Bowl, and then list the states that were affected by the Dust Bowl for day 1. Session 2 begins with an analysis of push and pull factors. Now, push and pull are 2 terms that are in the Arizona State Standards from starting in middle school through high school, so they really do need to understand what the 2 terms mean. First of all, push is pushing you or causing you to leave a place. It's pushing you out. And pull is bringing you in. So what's drawing you to this new place? So push is forcing you to leave. Pull is having you come to the new place. What's attractive about the new place? So we're going to start with the anticipatory set, where the students will answer the question, who has ever moved to a new city or a new state? And if they're younger children, 12-year-olds, they may never have moved. They may always have lived in the same house where they were born. But as you get with an older population, you're going to find that there's a little more movement. So we're going to have 1 or 2 kids that raise their hand that have lived in a new city or a new state. And then have them keep holding it up. How many have lived in 5 states or 5 cities? How many have lived in 10 cities? And then to see who's actually moved a lot. And then you can go back to who hasn't moved too much and kind of look at your class and get a feeling for how much they have moved in their lifetimes. And then you ask them the question, why did they move? Why? So you might get some sample responses. The sample responses might be because we wanted to live by grandma, because daddy got a new job, because I wanted to go or mom wanted me to go to a better school. To get away from snow. That's often a reason to move to Arizona. To be safe. Maybe the old house was in a bad neighborhood. Or to save money or rent. I mean, many of our kids, their parents don't own the house, so maybe it's a situation of, well, the rent was coming due, we need to move, or this is a cheaper apartment, something like that. And then you pass out the push and pull factors of migration handout. Now this is on your screen so you can see it. And it has 3 types of factors. It has economic factors, social factors, and political factors. So economic factors, those are the ones that have something to do with money. Social factors are the things in our life that, like family, housing, things like that. Political factors, those are the things that are like governmental situations or the climate of our country. So let's go back to our sample responses here, and we need to look at, all right, which of these were social, which of these were political, which of these were economic. So to be near grandma, I would say it would be a social factor. To get a new job, economic. To go to a better school, social. To get away from snow, I'm going to put that with social. To be safe, I think, is political, because somebody is now providing protection for you, and you're probably not doing it, so it's going to be a governmental organization. And to save money or rent would be an economic one. So have the students do a little brainstorming about why people move, and then categorize. The next step would to be to read the background to a song that they're going to hear about sunny California. And in the background, it talks a little bit about the history of the Depression, and then it cites how many people moved from the Dust Bowl area into, they moved to other states along usually Route 66, although it wasn't the only pathway, but many of them went along Route 66 hoping for a better life, hoping for employment, hoping for the ability to take care of their families. And in actuality, many of them then end up in California. And so this song then about sunny California is going to be written by Mary Sullivan. It is a primary source, and a primary source means that it's a first-hand document. It's not secondhand. In other words, Mary Sullivan lived then, experienced that experience, and wrote about it. So it's a primary source. And she was a farmer in Texas. She had experienced crop failures and whatever with the Dust Bowl and decides to head west. And as she goes, she's going to cite the different places that she goes through and why she keeps pursuing this, the dream to have a better life, and ends up in California. Now, the students will first of all can read the lyrics, and you can just discuss any vocabulary that might not be familiar to them. And then while we're playing the song, then you could have them read the lyrics. All right, so the lyrics to Sunny California are that she leaves one day, and then it goes on through the song. Now the next thing after the song is done is you're going to distribute the push and pull factors to these lyrics. And the students are going to now have to identify a push factor and a pull factor for these different places. So what was a push factor for leaving Texas? What's a pull factor for not leaving? You know, why would she not want to leave Texas? And then what was attracting her to California? What wasn't so great about California once she got there? And then have the kids discuss their answers. On session 3, the third day, you're going to review with the students again what are primary resources. Remember, these are first-hand accounts of what a person saw or experienced, or it's an object from the time period, and have them and share with them the photos from the earlier PowerPoints, and the ones that they'll be seeing shortly are all by a photographer named Dorothea Lange. Now, Dorothea Lange was paid by the government to make photographs during the time period of the Great Depression. And so these are a wonderful treasure trove of what the emotion was like during that time period as you look at her photos. Then you're going to show the Life in California PowerPoint. And after each photo, you're going to have the students comment on any pushes and pulls that they see in the different photographs. So let's look at the first one. The first one is California. Now, they've talked about sunny California. It doesn't look so sunny right now. So one of the pulls was, if we just look at the photo and don't know anything more, well, obviously the family's there, so family would be a pull. Keep your family together. Another pull might be that they have a place to live. It's not a great place, but they have something, so that might be a pull. The push, for me, in this picture would be the water. Is there any kind of bacteria in that water that could cause you to get sick? Would you want the kids drinking that water or playing that water? I don't think so. So for me, a push in that one would be the water. Here we have people working. Again, they're making money, so that's a pull. But the push would be back-breaking work. Sun, look at the woman's got her bonnet on. I know from people who have talked about cotton picking that it tears up your hands, that it's very prickery, stickery, whatever. And so, therefore, it would be hard to do cotton picking. Now, in California, when they got there, if you've read anything like even The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, you know that when they get to California, some of the places were very poor and very unsanitary for the workers. But then the government came in and started to build some government camps. And so I'm believing this is a government camp. So now look at the pools here. Okay, it looks like a clean building. They can do their laundry in the water trough there. The push, I don't know if they're working, so maybe they're not making any money, and it wouldn't feel very good to just be getting like free food and not having to work for it. At least personally, it wouldn't be good for me. So for those reasons, that might be a push, is to get out of there, to make more money, to be self-sufficient. Here's another one, the young girl and her mother. I don't know if that's an outhouse, but anyway, what would be the pushes? What would be the pulls? And then at the end, after you've thoroughly discussed pushes and pulls and going to California, the writing assignment would be that the students are now to pretend it's 1937 and they're in California and they're writing back to a friend. They're writing a friendly letter and to a family member. It's not a friend, it's a family member. And they're going to be telling them about California. So they have to identify who they're writing the letter to. And they need to talk about the pushes and pulls of living in California. And then at the end, they make a conclusion. Is it a good thing to have gone to California? Is it not a good thing to have gone to California? And we're grading them on this friendly letter. All right, how do we grade this lesson? Well, the photo analysis worksheets can be graded for completeness. Did they fill them out? The push and pull factors can be identified from the song. Are they correct or not? And then the friendly letter can be scored with the 6-trait writing rubric and according to the scoring guide. And last but not least, they should receive 80% or higher on everything that they've been doing. Extensions. There is included with this particular lesson a Route 66 PowerPoint. You can show them different places along the PowerPoint so they can have an idea of how the migration route might have appeared. They can also look for other primary source photos in other eras. World War II would be a perfect example of having them look at more photos and look for the emotion in those photos. One of the things that I found as I was writing this lesson is that the Steinbeck story builds on the idea there were handbills that directed people to come to California and they would find everything they wanted. It was the land of milk and honey. But what really, when you start looking at the evidence, there isn't anything that historians have found that show a California handbill that says come to California. But I did find one for Arizona. And here's one asking for cotton pickers to come. 5,000 families are wanted in Arizona. So kids could write a handbill trying to attract people to a place, come to Arizona, come to California, because we have jobs. And these are my sources.